if you guys don't know, Remy and Gold is a florist in Austin where I am located, and I freelance for them regularly. And the way I met Mickey is that his wife also works at Remy and Gold. And so we became friends. And then she told me about what he does. And now he's going to be helping me with my website and hopefully helping all of us today with our website. So he was just saying that he did some really cool SEO work for them. And I think that's a big thing because we don't realize how much it makes a difference. So traffic is, how many eyeballs you're getting on your website. And so if you're multiplying that, doubling that, or tripling that, statistically, you're going to get more clients. I mean, it's just a matter of numbers, right?
Yeah, it's
so
a numbers game.
Doing that is so cool. That's awesome, Mickey. Okay, we're going to let Ket in. Okay, so we've got quite a few people in already. As we go, we'll just go ahead and let people join in. But thank you all for joining us. Linda's jumping in, Brittany's jumping in. Let me let all these people in. Thank you for joining us and taking your time out of your evening or your afternoon, wherever you are, to spend some time with us talking about SEO. Because, I own a software company and I'm still working through SEO in my business. So being a florist, learning about SEO is so important because it is a really big piece of how we gain clients. And so I want everybody to get a little bit of a comfort level with that as we go into 2024. So I want to welcome everybody to How to Boost Your SEO in 2024 with Mickey. He is the owner of SEO by Mansky, and he is here in Austin, Texas, where I am, and he has a lot of really great SEO experience. So he went through and created this amazing presentation for us. He's going to give us some really great information on SEO, and then we're going to be able to ask some questions at the end. So if you think of questions, if there's an opportunity to unmute, put it in the chat, and you can go ahead and ask. Otherwise, we're going to go ahead and save some of the questions for the end, and we'll have a little Q&A session. So, Mickey, thank you for being here with us, and we'll let you take it away.
Yeah, well, thanks for the introduction. I had a whole introduction plan, so I appreciate that. But yeah, we can go to the table of contents. We'll talk about boosting your SEO in 2024.
All right.
All right, so first we'll talk about SEO and some helpful tips in the full industry specifically. And then we'll move to the visual portion where I'll explain what pages you need on your website, for example. Next, we'll go into content tips. And then next, we'll do a high-level crash course in keyword research and title tags. And then at the end, I'll put together like an SEO strategy for you to implement in your own site. So that's the whole goal. And then, yeah, we can go on.
Awesome. Okay, let's do it.
All right, so I couldn't do SEO presentation without explaining key terms and concepts, but once we are done with that, I will go into actual examples and show you how to implement some things yourself. So we can get to the first keyword, which is, you guessed it, SEO. So what is SEO? SEO is search engine optimization. So if you're anything like me, acronyms don't really stick. So most people don't actually completely understand SEO. They think it's technical or you need to be a coder to implement some elements. That is actually not the case at all. It can actually be really easy to implement some SEO elements. So what is SEO? SEO is the practice of optimizing websites to show up on page 1 of Google, and allows you to get more organic leads coming to your website. So these 5 things that I've listed on here is what I call the 5 pillars of SEO. So that's content, backlinks, on-page, technical, and user experience. So content's king. Oh, I'm almost done. Sorry about that.
Sorry.
Content is king. Backlinks is pretty much other websites linking back to yours. On-page is everything on the actual page that you implement. So that's adding keywords to your titles, etc. Technical, we'll get to on the next slide. And then user experience. So Google's search algorithm is actually catered to a user to improve their experience. So it's no coincidence that the top ranking pages that you see are from keywords from websites that actually have a good user experience. So it's not a coincidence. So if you have a bad user experience, most likely that somebody's going to leave your website immediately and kind of create a pattern in Google's eyes, and you're going to start ranking lower in search results. So just make sure you prioritize user experience. So we can go to the next slide.
Awesome.
All right. So what is search intent? So I couldn't really avoid talking about search intent when talking about SEO because it's so important when it comes to understanding what SEO really is. And it's kind of like the secret sauce of really understanding SEO. So like search intent is the summary of what pages show up in search results when you type in a keyword in Google. So if you, for example, if you type in Austin flowers, you'll get a bunch of pages offering bouquets for sale or for delivery, as you see on the bottom image here. That just means that Google believes that somebody searching for this keyword will want to find these types of pages, most likely. So when you're trying to find the keyword you want to optimize for, you'll need to check like the search results and determine if you think the search intent aligns with the business or topic. And then lastly, the search intent can be both local and global. The best way to tell is if you have a Google Map pack. Everyone's probably seen that, or you can also have traditional SEO results be local as well. So yeah.
For most of us, because we're local floral businesses, we're going to want to make sure we're including things like our city name or our area name and things like that. Is that what you mean by local, Mickey?
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
Even if you just have the type in the keyword flowers, you're still gonna have local intent from that. So you don't have to actually include your name in you're typing in Google, but you need to have it on your website.
Got it. Awesome.
Yep. Okay. So what affects your local SEO? So this is another definitional slide. We're almost done with definitional slides, but this is kind of what I believe to be the most important when it comes to on-page SEO. So first one is quality content. Google will most likely try to rank the page that has the best content, likely like a homepage that offers the most value or a blog that answers the right frequently asked questions from your customers. Next is title tags and H1 tags. So title tags is probably arguably the most important thing you optimize in your site. I'll show you some images of those in later slides, but essentially a title tag is the title you see in Google results. And an H1 tag is just a fancy way of describing the title you have on any given page. So Google places heavy emphasis on titles as it's the first thing Google understands about your website and allows a user to click on your page. So it's important. Next, user experience. And this is just talking about page speed, design, and it's if it's easy for a user to convert. Next is reviews. Rule of thumb here is just you want to have more reviews than your competitors, and you can move on to other things. So like NAP. So NAP and citations. So name, address, and phone number. So you want to make sure your name, address, and phone number are not only listed on your website if possible, but they're listed like in all the local directories as possible. So a directory, if you don't know what that is, example of that would be like the not.com. I'm sure you've probably heard of that one.
Yeah, I think we've all heard of that one. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's an example of a directory. Also, you want to make sure your NAP is consistent across all your citations. So you don't want to have like different phone numbers out there in the web and different addresses. That actually plays a role in search results. Yeah, so next is localized copy. All your pages need to represent the location you offer. Otherwise, Google won't recognize you as the place in the area. So, and then backlinking. So we established backlinking as the 5 pillars of SEO, and it's one of the most important things to acquire. But actually, good content can allow other pages referring you organically. But you can perform outreach for this as well as they perform like as long as they're from high quality relevant sites. So I can go into another slide, like a whole presentation on backlinking, but on a high level, that's what it is. So lastly, Google Business Profile. Most of y'all probably have this set up, but main takeaway is for this is you want to make sure you have your primary category set up. A lot of times people forget to do that. Kind of one of those simple things you kind of forget. But if you're curious to see what you should make your primary category, check your competitors, type in your keyword, and whatever's beating you in the top 3 spots, use their primary category. And that's kind of like the best practice on that one. So
Gotcha. Okay, that's great. And backlinks, we'll just go back to that really quick because I think that's one thing that's like people are a little bit unsure of. I had a few people ask questions about that. And I think the best way to explain that is like if I'm on a podcast, when I was on the Botanical Brouhaha podcast, there were a lot of links on their website on the blog post about my business. So they were linking EveryStem.com on their page. And so if you have another vendor, like a baker or a venue or other businesses that have websites that are linking to your website, those are what the backlinks are that Mickey is talking about.
Yeah.
So kind of trying to communicate with different vendors about trying to make sure that you're working together to possibly give each other
it's like
positive backlinks.
They're referencing you because they want to be associated with you, and then Google sees that. That's pretty much what it is.
Yeah,
it's like websites reviewing each other.
Yeah, like giving each other a high five, like you're a good. Yeah, got it. Okay,
exactly, a high five.
Awesome. Okay, so we'll go on to the next page.
Yeah. Okay, last boring slide. So technical SEO, technical SEO is not as important as like on-page elements for smaller businesses. You still want to make sure you're covered here. So I'll quickly go through these elements. So 404s or broken links. You just want to make sure all of your hyperlinks work and they don't lead to a 404 page. Just check all your hyperlinks on your website and see if they work or not. Then remove them if needed. And this will improve your SEO and user experience. So that one's done. And then the SSL certificate. The only thing you need to worry about that is if you have an SSL certificate, then you have a secured site. Best way to check if you have a lock image next to your URL. That just means you have a secured website. And another way to check is if you have an HTTPS, or if you don't have the S for the HTTP. That's another way to check. But done for that one. And then next we have the site redirect to preferred version. So does your site redirect automatically to your website if somebody types in any of these variations of a URL? If they forget the www dot, people still want to go to your website. This happens automatically most of the time, but you want to make sure and check. And then intern linking. So your user and search engines use links to find content on your website. So intern linking is like pretty much it's the intern linking is linking from one page to another of your own pages. So both search engines like Google and a user use these links to navigate through your site. So like rule of thumb here is that all your content should include at least 2 to 3 of these links. And it's very important. It doesn't sound like it's important, but it is. And then lastly, site speed. So go to this pagespeed.web.dev, type your URL in there, and it'll give you like a score from like 1 to 100 for both mobile and desktop. Obviously, you want to be 100. That's going to be the most fastest websites out there. And then put your competitor in there too. So if you're beating your competitors here, you're good.
Awesome. Okay. And I think the internal links, when we talk a little bit later about blogs, I think that's kind of a really key piece in blogging as well, right, Mickey?
Oh, yeah. It's a very key piece.
Okay.
The agency I work for, we would never put out a piece of content without at least 10 links. Obviously, this is much smaller scale, so you probably don't have a lot of content on your website to link to, but you want to have at least 2 to 3 for sure.
Gotcha. Okay, cool.
Yeah. All right, so if you're still not familiar with what title tags are, here's just an image of it really quick. It's what you see in search results. Same with meta description. So meta description, it's a myth that that's a ranking factor. So meta descriptions aren't a ranking factor in Google results. So this is just this is just for clicks, pretty much. You don't want to be obviously too salesy, but you want to describe the page as much as possible. And then a good example is there for your reference. This company's more likely updated for the keyword stunning wedding flowers. So yeah.
Got it.
Next
So
slide.
whatever kind of thing that we're trying to go for, if we're going for whimsical wedding flowers or we're going for luxury, I know you worked when you were working with Remy and Gold, you kind of focused on the term luxury wedding flowers, right? To kind of make sure that they're getting those clients that are looking for higher end floral design, right?
Yeah, and she'd asked to be in the luxury space, but I'd found that keyword through keyword research, and I noticed people were searching for that exact keyword, luxury florals in Austin, for example.
Yeah, and that's great because that's finding that mix. So if you guys are thinking about what you want your business to really represent, so if you're going for, kind of funky, fresh floral designs, or you're going for luxury floral designs, and then you do some search work and you look at, SEMrush, or you look at one of these other kind of even searching in Google yourself, and you see that there are search results for that term, that means you're going to marry what you want to sell to your clients and what your clients are trying to search for. And that's going to be like a really sweet spot, right, Mickey?
Oh, absolutely.
Awesome. Okay.
Okay, cool. And then another visual example. Again, this is a good example of what an H1 tag looks like. So it's invisible to the user, and then it's just like an HTML code. Indicating it's the header 1 tag. So, and you want to have one of these per page. A lot of times you'll see maybe 2 or 3 of them just use as visual elements, and that's not, shouldn't use them as visual elements. You should use them as an H1 optimized tag telling Google what this page is.
Gotcha. Okay. So like we're really specifically here, we're saying we're floral design, we're in Austin, and that way Google is able to really kind of just hone in on that.
Right.
Awesome.
Okay, so we talked about localized content. This is another visual example. As you can see, like there's several mentions of Austin, Texas in the business in this text. So you don't want to overdo this, but you want to have it natural, and you want to have your content talking about where you are as well. So
in a paragraph, I know I've read in the past, there's certain like amounts of these things, but if someone's kind of trying to write a paragraph about their business, do you think about 3 or 4 times trying to mention it is a good number?
Yeah, definitely. I would say more like 2, and
2.
then plus the title.
Got it.
There's no like set or stone number. I think it will be clear if you're really keyword stuffing. That's like maybe 5 and up for sure.
Yeah.
There's no keyword. There's no like certain number on that one either. That's why I'm like 5. But
you want it to read naturally. You don't want to just be like, Austin is our city where we sell Austin flowers, and Austin is here.
Yeah. If you're talking to somebody and you sound like that, you shouldn't put that on your page.
Right. We want to optimize it for Google, but we also want humans to be able to read it and like feel warmth and feel like they want to work with us,
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Okay. So since all you are in the industry, I wanted to make sure I included some couple of helpful tips and call outs for the wedding industry, specifically the floral industry. Some things like people don't always search the way we think they do, and they do not search for super specific keywords. So boho style wedding florist, for example, if you look that up, you might think this is important for your website, but if you look this specific keyword up, it's going to have 0 search volume. So basically, people are just searching for basic keywords: flowers near me, your city, wedding florist, and so these very specific keywords you want to target probably more on a blog level, not for your main pages. And so companies that include a variation of floral design in their branding have an advantage in search results. So this image here is just a search in my local town for floral design. So you can see that just here. The top spots actually include floral design in their branding name. Obviously, I'm not telling you to change your name, but I'm just kind of calling out they do have an advantage because of it. But if you beat them on every other avenue in SEO, you could still work towards winning. And then one other call out too, you technically can change your name on Google Business Profile, but you have to do so at your own discretion because you technically get penalized for it. But it's actually would work if you did though. just,
Okay,
just letting you know.
cool.
And then yeah, so most of the keyword volume associated with any of these type of keywords has the word florist in it. So that being said, if you have actual bouquets for sale on your website, more than likely you're going to have more traffic to your website.
So for the florists who are selling, retail designs and they have a website, the word florist is a really good choice to kind of make sure that that's in
Yeah.
the tag.
Yeah, because like for me, you and I, we know the difference between florist and like floral designer, but a lot of times it's a really mixy game
Right.
in online. So
Yeah. Yeah.
okay, so we're good with this one.
All right.
Oh, sorry. And then yeah, so directories you should be listed in. So talked about citations. Here's just a quick list of other places besides the not you can add your business to. If you want to find other ones, just type in your keyword plus your address, and then you'll see all the directories that you actually are listed in. And if you want to find ones that you're not listed in, do the same thing, but use your competitor's address, and then do like kind of a cross reference there.
That's really cool. And I just heard somebody tell me today, this Zola.com, they had a really great review from a client, and I sent them a message and I said, "Oh, congratulations." And I saw on there that the client had found them through that directory. So, there are still ways. You don't have to necessarily pay to be on the not.com or pay to be on Yelp, but just having your name on there is actually going to help you, even with the free listing.
Yeah, and it helps in SEO, and like you said, it helps you get other avenues for leads and sales. So that's perfect.
Yeah. So if you guys aren't on any of these, go ahead. We'll send you the link to this. We'll send you this presentation at the end of the call. But go ahead and make sure that you are listed on all of these because, even though they might email you and ask you to pay and this and that, it's actually worth it just to have that free version of the listing on there.
Yeah. But again, check your local area. It could be, I know there's different ones for different necks of the woods. So
yeah.
All right. So important pages. So now we'll talk about like the pages you need on your website. That is the homepage, about page, and your product or service pages. So something important to note is when creating these pages, you'll need to do keyword research first and assign a primary keyword to each of your main pages. And I'll give you some helpful tips on that later. So let's go.
Awesome. And Ket just asked a question in the chat. So let's just talk about that because it it references what we were just talking about. So if you are on the not.com and you're listed there, or you're on Zola.com, Ket's asking, would those be places for backlinks? If they list your website and they have a link there, that's a backlink, right?
Yeah, technically that is a backlink. Yeah. But we refer to them as citations because for like bigger websites, they're not in the local space. You wouldn't really care about citations. So they kind of distinguish it because it's a local business, but technically it is a backlink, yes.
Okay, gotcha. So it's maybe not as much, maybe it doesn't have as much like clout as like, another local business backlinking you, but it's definitely worth taking the time to do it.
Yes, definitely.
Gotcha.
It's a 2-for-1, honestly.
Cool.
All right. So what do all important pages need for local SEO? So these are just the basic things that all important pages will need to rank in local search. So that is your city and listed in your title tag, which Luann mentioned earlier, city listed in the H1 heading, unique descriptive meta description. Are there 10 sentences of content and is it localized? So a lot of pages, a lot of home pages are just kind of flooded with just images. And Google likes words. That's just the bottom line. They like words. That's how they crawl your website.
Mhm.
And is a local phone number listed? So if you don't have a phone number or you don't want people calling you, don't include it. But I will say local area codes do help in local search. And then is there alt text on all your images? So when you upload your image, there's a place where you can actually add a descriptor on your alt text. So you want to make sure that's filled out for all your images for Google accessibility purposes. So people can read your website with a screen reader if they have a disability.
Got it. Okay. And then Stephanie has a question, Mickey. She says, if I'm a home-based wedding florist, I don't really want to include my actual home address in these directories. Do you have any suggestions on how like a home-based florist could list the address? Could they just put, is it bad to put just city and state, or what
Yeah,
do
you
think
definitely
about
don't want to have your address out there, especially in your Google business profile. For example, you can list them as service areas. So yeah, don't include your address if you're a home-based business. That just answers that question.
that? Okay. So you can just say, I
Yeah.
serve, Austin and Central Texas area. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
And like the
Gotcha.
name and phone number will work too. And then the link obviously
Yeah.
will still help you.
Yeah. And you can also
Yeah.
do a Google Voice phone number. If you guys don't want to give out your like actual cell phone number, you can set up Google Voice or something like that, and you can have a phone number. So there are some ways to get around that. But yeah, you definitely want to make sure, Stephanie, that you're kind of including that general area that you're servicing. And so that way you can kind of give people information, but not give out your home address. Yeah. We want privacy, we want to respect that, of course. And then the
Cool.
alt text, I've heard some different things about that, Mickey. That's just, you don't want to put anything that's not actually about the photo, right? You want to put information about the photo only. So when y'all do that, just make sure you're not putting things that aren't relevant to the image.
Yeah.
Because that could kind of backfire on you, right?
But if you want to take that a step further, and if you have like a wedding in a certain area, then you can write wedding in this area. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
A picture of a couple in the wedding at this area.
Yep. Or you can
So,
even say the name of the venue, right? If they're getting married at
yeah.
Allen House, we can say Allen House, Austin, Texas.
Mhm.
And then if you do a blog post about a wedding at the Wildflower Center, you can say Wildflower Center, Austin, Texas. And that way you're maybe featuring more of the venues, which then you're getting a double bang for your buck, because you're talking
Mhm.
about venues which are going to kind of draw, SEO for your local backlinks. And maybe that venue will then share your blog post, and then you're also kind of sharing the area you're in without talking about your exact location.
Right. Yeah. And then I've seen people's images where they have the same keyword in all their images, and like that you will get you keyword stuffing penalized for sure if you did something like that. So
Right, exactly. Yeah, we don't want to get, dinged. I mean, we don't know the rules of these things, and that's why it's so great to have somebody like Mickey on your side, and he's going to start helping me with my EveryStem website, because I really feel like I've learned a lot about how to do this stuff, but just like everyone else on this call, like we have so much on our plates. We're trying to run businesses. We're trying to, sell to clients. We're trying to manage all these different things. And then SEO is kind of like a whole nother full-time job. So having somebody like Mickey, who is an expert, who you can ask questions to, who can help you through some of this stuff, is really amazing. And he's been super helpful to me. So if you guys have any questions and you want to reach out to him, I'll make sure that you get his contact information. And if you do need some help from an expert, he's the guy to go talk to. So
yeah, appreciate that. Yeah, you can DM me as well.
Yeah. And we'll roll that on to the next slide for you.
Cool. All right. So first of the most important pages, your homepage. So this is the most important page. So I've noticed that florists homepages rank first usually over like their service pages most of the time, and that's why your homepage is the most important in this industry. But like that's not always the case. So for like credit card companies, for example, the credit card page would be more important than their homepage. But in this neck of the woods, your homepage is going to outrank, especially in local businesses. Most of your backlinks are going to be towards your homepage. That means your homepage is more likely going to have more authority and rank over your services. So that's why you need to really prioritize your homepage, and target your most important keyword you want to rank for. Cool.
Awesome.
And then you go to the next one.
Awesome.
All right. So first visual example. So this is an example of how an H1 is not optimized correctly. So this is just a random website. So you can see it says bringing your fairy tale to life. So this is pretty much telling Google that this page is about bringing your fairy tale to life, which is not necessarily optimized for search engines. So
Right. So this could be great if somebody wants, maybe they know your business, they've got a word of mouth recommendation, they come to your website and they see this and they're like, oh, I want a fairy tale wedding. That's wonderful. But part of what we're trying to do with our websites is to gain new traffic and have Google really understand what we're trying to sell. So instead of saying bringing your fairy tale to life, maybe it should say floral design that, for a fairy tale wedding or something like that. Changing those few words could really make a difference, right, Mickey?
Oh yes. Yeah, your homepage is more of it's not necessarily a sales page like your services are. Like you said, this is most of the time you're going to have people who've never showed up to your site joining you. So you want to make sure they get what they're looking for and they know what it is immediately.
And that's that, the H1 tag where we say non-optimized. That means,
yeah, and like a good description as well.
Yeah, we want to be very direct with that first H1 tag, and we want to make sure that we're not, we want to sound wonderful, and it might sound great to us, but we want to think about how it's sounding to someone who's never looked at the page or never gone to our business, and also how Google's looking at it, because that's going to help us raise our SEO. It's a really good example.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I'll just kind of run through all these examples. This is a better example. I keep using this image because I'm proud of it.
Yeah, great job, Mickey. I mean, you did so great with this. I love it.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, so you can see everything's above the fold, and above the fold do you have to scroll to see it? And if, people are lazy, they don't want to scroll to kind of get the information they want. So, and that also is imperative for search results too. Does it allow Google to crawl your website quicker as well?
Yep. So if you're looking at it and you don't see this button without having to scroll down, if you don't have a button that they can click on above the fold, that's something that you want to change.
And the button is not for search engines. That's for like user experience, for the call to action.
Got it.
But yeah, you want people to kind of click around your site, and then that helps. Like activity on your website helps for search engines. So indirectly, yeah, you want to make it easier for them.
Awesome. Got it. And then when you create these call to action buttons, do you feel like on a home page you're having the one above the fold? Do you think that's really like the only one?
So, okay, so to answer your question, I have an example a couple of slides from now, but I actually believe that your first call to action shouldn't be like a sign up now, because they don't know what they've looked through yet. So yeah, I like where you're headed.
Okay, cool. So we'll keep going and we'll see it as we go along.
Yeah. So the first one I believe should be like your service page, like, oh, check out our weddings, or check out what people say, like, another page to move someone down the funnel.
Got it. So if I was to click on this on the Remy and Gold page, it's going to take me to their wedding page, probably, right?
It was. I think she's made some changes since then.
Okay.
Yeah.
But in general, ideally, that's what we would
ideally
go to, something like that. Okay, cool.
Cool. All right, again, another example: title, description, call to action, good image. We can move on to the next one.
Perfect.
And then, yeah, this is that example we were talking about, is that call to action is going straight to a wedding page. And then if you look down, I like this example because it really takes someone down the journey. So it goes from what your company offers like a bullet list. What exactly do you offer immediately afterwards? Like right when you scroll, you can obviously you have to scroll now. So take someone down the journey next, how to become a part of it if they wanted to, and then testimonials. So this is just like a good example of an optimized homepage for a user experience.
Yeah, this is great because it really clearly lays out from someone who has never thought about, flowers before to is now dumped into having a wedding and having to plan all this stuff and is feeling overwhelmed, really clearly laying it out for them and kind of driving it down to where like, this is what we do, this is how we do it, and people love us. Now it's your turn to sign up,
Yeah,
Love
exactly.
that. Awesome.
Okay, so the about page is kind of like one of those sleeper pages that no one really is overly concerned about, and that's because um, the about page is not a page you want to rank on Google necessarily. This is all for search engines to crawl your website to see where you are and what you do. So here's an example of that. So this is probably one of the easiest pages you can update on your own website.
That's great. And just being able to kind of make sure we're layering that in. If you don't have an about you page, I think it's really important to also let, as a florist, to let people know if they are human on there and they're looking, who you are. So put your name on there, put your picture on there. I know some of us are really shy and we really don't want to do that.
Yeah.
And for years when I had my flower shop, I did not want a picture of myself on the page. But when people are shopping with you, they want to know who they're buying from.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I agree.
I think it works both ways. We're thinking about Google, but we also want to think about like the customer at the same time. So finding that, being able to be willing, like, for an electrical company, maybe we don't care what the person looks like,
no
but
one
if
cares what
somebody's
they look
doing
like.
wedding, exactly. Perfect. Okay.
Cool. Okay, so now we're in the service pages. So this is a wedding designer service page. So this is more of your sales page, kind of includes some helpful links to related products. You want to have like frequently asked questions, a good call to action. So it's, if somebody's here, they're still researching. So the location of like your call to action is not like imperative at this point. But you just want to make it easy for somebody to make an action if they wanted to. But yeah, it looks really good. It's optimized H1 tag. Cool.
Yeah. And I think the biggest thing with the booking a consultation or whatever the next steps are, you want to be able to always have something on your page that is about kind of moving them along to the next step, right? So it's tying those things in together and saying, okay, you've seen our homepage, you maybe looked at our About Us page, now you're looking at the service page, actually want to buy our product, want to give you the opportunity to do that as easily as possible.
Exactly.
Awesome.
And one more note too, if you don't have like, if you're more into like the floral e-commerce side of things, and you have your product pages for bouquets, you want to prioritize your category pages of like flowers for your anniversary for as opposed to like the individual products. So prioritize those category pages for sure, because people want to browse through those. That's just kind of like the rule of thumb for e-commerce.
That's awesome. Tiffany, I know Tiffany's on here. We were actually talking about that the other day. She has a website and she sells floral arrangements out of her home. She does retail and she does weddings, but she had taken the categories off of her website and realized that she wasn't getting quite the response. So that does flow along with what you're saying here. I think that's really important to kind of acknowledge. If you're doing retail, you want to kind of include those categories because that's how customers buy, and that user experience ties into Google, and we want that user experience to be high.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Okay, so now we'll talk about content and why you need a blog for your website and how to structure it and how to make it SEO optimized.
Awesome. This is the good stuff. This is what I need to learn, Mickey. I'm excited about this part for sure.
Awesome. Okay, so why should we bother with content? So I know you'd probably much rather do anything else than write a blog content, but hear me out. So like these are my favorite reasons to tell someone why they need a blog. And that is it gives your website the ability to rank and accrue traffic from other keywords that you normally wouldn't be able to rank for. That means more traffic to your site, and it's not like social media, so you don't have to post every single day. That's a misconception, and you'll still get the same traffic on a month-to-month basis carrying forward. So one blog a month it's good enough for results. And then so builds your topical authority over your niche. So topical authority is very important. So if Google sees that you answering all your customers' questions and you display a vast selection of your knowledge in your space, then Google will recognize you as like the authority in your niche, and most likely will outrank you over your competitors for like full design, for example, if that's your niche. So that means more content, the more likely you'll have topical authority. And then next is answers your customers' FAQs, and every piece of content has the ability to rank or to lead to a sale directly or indirectly. So that one's like probably one of somebody else's light bulb moment. You know, if you target a topic like what's the criteria for choosing wedding arch, and you write an article over that, most likely the next step will be somebody wanting to find flowers for it. So that's kind of like how you want to have the mindset of like finding somebody right before the buying stage, and then having them be familiar with your website. And then the last two, Google rewards activity on your website and fresh content, and good quality can lead to natural backlinks, which we talked about earlier.
Awesome. So Hannah does have a question, Mickey, and I think this would be a good time to ask it since we're kind of talking about blog posts, and we've all been kind of given all this information. You know, we all get all this stuff about how to run the business and what works well and what doesn't. So she says she sends out a monthly newsletter, and she wants to know how that's different from a monthly blog post. And so for me, Hannah, my answer there is, if you're doing a blog post, what you're doing is you're posting that onto part of your website, and it's going to live there forever. So when Mickey talks about how you're kind of building this authority in your niche, and it's answering customer questions, and Google's rewarding the activity and the fresh content, if that's on your website, you can then link it on a Pinterest pin. You can then share it in Instagram. You can then have Google crawl that page and keep putting it up at the top of organic searches. And so when it's a blog post, it's something that lives on the website forever. If it's a newsletter and you're emailing it out, it's an email that then gets deleted by only the people that see it that one time. So if you could take what you're doing with a newsletter and kind of also form it into a blog, or maybe instead of doing the newsletter, do a blog or something like that, you would get more long-term results. Is that right, Mickey?
Oh yeah, I think you nailed it. I think, the best strategy is to upload it to your blog first, then email it out, so you can get traffic from people on your email list. Same thing, your socials. But yeah, I agree with everything else you said about long-term benefits and actually being live on the website.
Awesome. Yeah. So one thing you could do, Hannah, is you could actually put some of the information, like if you're doing a newsletter, you could make a blog post that's about the wedding you just did, or about whatever topic you're talking about. And then when you send out the newsletter, one of the portions of the newsletter is like, hey, we just did this gorgeous wedding at such and such place, and then link that to your blog. That way people are actually going to the blog post to see that information, right?
Yeah, I'm actually going to talk about some of that in the next slide. So it's good timely
perfect.
questions.
Awesome. Okay. Okay. Let's go on to the next one, and then we've got some more questions, but we'll kind of mix it in as we go along. Okay. Go ahead,
Cool.
Mickey.
All right. So what content actually works? So here you can see some helpful ideas when choosing what types of content to write about. So like the first two are very similar. It's like showcasey. Talk about the best venues that you've worked at, best vendors, and talk about some wedding showcases. So this is not just blogs with just images. You definitely want to describe what you're doing and have a lot of words on the page. But the most important thing here to actually rank is if you include the venue name and the address into these posts. So a lot of times people title their stuff with a couple's name, for example, and like most of the time, 100% of the time, actually, those pages are not going to rank on Google. It might still get traffic through people like navigating through the site, but if you want traffic through Google, make sure to include the venue names there.
Yeah, like you could put winter wedding at the Allen house as opposed to Mickey and Megan's wedding, right?
Yeah, and like I use keyword research tools to see like what variation of the venue names people are actually searching, and then I include that in the title.
Perfect.
Yeah. And then the last two are informational posts, which is your general blog posts, your how-to posts, what is, and that's going to get you some global traffic, not just local. And then your geo-targeted content. So geo-targeted content is actually a new strategy that I discovered that I didn't discover it, but personally I discovered it, that helps rank for surrounding areas. So you literally just write small articles, like less than 500 words, talking about things to do in your area, surrounding areas, and that's it. And like,
I love
and also
that.
and then don't include these in your navigation. These are just for like search engines and not for a user specifically. And I added an example of what that looks like down below.
Super smart. That's great. Because Kit just asked, the easy blog post is just a description and photos of a wedding, but what other types of things should we be writing about? So yeah, Kit, I mean, these are perfect examples. You're talking about, things that you guys put on Instagram, answering clients' questions, talking about things that you love, talking about color theory. I know Ket and I were just talking about color theory the other day. You could do a whole post about floral design and what colors work well in certain seasons. That's something that a lot of people search about. And then some of these articles that Mickey just mentioned about the targeted content, talking about things to do in your area, but then not necessarily linking that with the navigation. I think that's genius. I would have never thought of that. That's awesome. So those are some great topics. And then Lizette has a question, which I'll ask for you, Mickey, because you probably know better about this than I do. She says, I don't know how to write blogs. What do you suggest we do? And where can we find some affordable help for writing blogs?
Yeah. So for example, I don't write my own content either. I use copywriters. You can find those on Upwork. They're very cheap on Upwork, but definitely research their work first. I have seen people use ChatGTP for that. And you can actually definitely use ChatGTP for like the geo-targeted stuff. Just make sure you kind of change it up so it doesn't look AI-y.
Yeah.
So you can use that as a tool. I always recommend GTP as a tool.
Yeah.
Not an actual writing agent. So yeah, try Upwork, try Pfizer, or whatever it's called.
Fiverr, yeah. So
the other
Upwork,
one, yeah.
Fiverr, and ChatGTP, Lizette, would be three great ways to kind of get started. Upwork and Fiverr are both places where you can find people who will do that work for you. And then ChatGTP is an AI assistant that you can kind of put in prompts and it will give you like the basics of a blog post that you could start with. And then you can edit it and make it your own, personalize it. So those would be three great places to start.
And you can actually look for this type of writer in like Upwork. They'll exist, like very specifically niched writers.
Yeah. And people who specifically do wedding work. I think I have one or two people who I know via Instagram that do some of that stuff too. So I can send you those, Lizette. Just shoot me a message and remind me and I'll share those with you. Great questions, guys. I'm so glad you guys are asking questions. Yay.
Sweet. Okay, so how to structure posts. So goal here is to create your template once and then duplicate it each time and forget it. It should always start with an H1. I know we keep talking about H1, sorry. And then followed by your H2s for a blog, for your blog sections. So if you want to have subheadings, then do H3s and H4s. But basically, you are telling Google that H1 is most important and your H2s are the second most important. So include your highest search volume keywords and questions in these portions of the blog. So the headings are not only break up your content into like easily easily consumable sections, but they also play a significant role in SEO as being structured this way. Yeah.
Yeah, I learned that the hard way. I was kind of trying to like make it look pretty, and I didn't realize that an H1 is actually has a purpose as the title. So, sometimes we're trying to make things look a certain way and we're like, oh, I want to make it bigger or smaller. But we want to understand that when we're using these on our blogs or even on our website, that they really do have some really important behind the scenes, connection to
Yeah.
SEO.
And then
So you don't want to have
search engine,
H1 at the bottom of your, yeah,
yeah. So yeah, search engines use headings to understand your content. So
perfect.
cool. Next slide. Okay, so I kind of gave away some knowledge here that I've done in the past. So this is a content brief from a #1 article that I ranked. This is actually a how to make your content SEO optimized portion of the section of this presentation. If you want to ensure that your blog posts is like SEO optimized, you need to create a blog content brief for every single piece of content you push out. That way, you have a strategy behind what you're doing, essentially. So the first section here is you will include the tone of voice you want to establish. So this is actually something you're going to send right to a copywriter. This is what I did. You want to have this filled out before you send it off, even if you're writing it yourself. So every page starts off with a primary keyword. So the form and flow design, voice, the search intent, which I established here as somebody wanting to know what it is. What is floral design, form and floral design, and some examples. So also, you include the competitor analysis section. So this is just all the top pages ranking for your primary keyword, form and floral design. A copywriter should be familiar what is ranking for this, and then they should be able to take the best parts of every one of these top ranking articles into one optimized article with something extra. And that's like the secret sauce. And then the next slide is the other half of this document.
Okay. That's really interesting. So you're trying to kind of combine all the best of that and then add a little something so that Google's like, oh, you're the authority on this.
Yes, exactly. So I create a content brief for if I'm optimizing a homepage, I create one of these. If I'm posting a blog post, I create one of these. So this is something I do first before everything.
Okay.
And this is the section where you add like the SEO value. And this is all your secondary keyword variations that support the primary, like floral design shapes, for example. You want to add any co-occurring phrases that you see in search results, and any commonly asked questions related to your topic. And lastly, you want to include places in your blog or website for you to link to from the post. You can see in the internal linking section, if you already have content to link to, and then any external links for so you definitely want to have external links too. So you want to not only link in between your own articles, but link out to articles you want to reference to. So
exactly. Yeah. So if I do a blog post, typically I'll try to, maybe I'll reference another one of my blog posts, and that would be technically an internal link. And then maybe I would reference, another podcast that I thought was really great on the same subject from Botanical Brouhaha or one of the other podcasts that I listen to. And then that would be an external link.
correct.
So just so you guys know the difference between those two.
Cool. And then I'll link one of these at the end of this. So like a template for you guys to use.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so keyword research. So now I'll run through a high level how to perform keyword research. There's a lot of SEO tools out there that I use, but a lot of them are free. Most of them are paid, and then there's a few that are free, but obviously the paid ones are better, but they're pretty pricey. My favorite one is SEMrush. It's like $100 a month, but I use it's definitely worth it. But they have free trials. Ubersuggest I'll talk about here first.
Okay.
It's free for a certain period of time, but then it's only like $20 to $30 a month. So yeah, okay. So we'll start off with this one: steps to keyword research, the free way. So first you look up the primary keyword. So you have like a list of keywords that you want to rank for. Look up one of them, look up your primary keyword, floral design, for example, and then find the top pages that are ranking in the top organic results for that keyword, grab their URL and plug it into one of these tools. Look at the top keyword they are ranking for. Test those keywords in search results and verify the search intent. So is a Google result where you want to be part of? And add those keywords to your website. And
Awesome.
then the next slide. And then this is kind of what it looks like. So if you go into Ubersuggest, you type your competitor URL like we mentioned, and then it gives you a full list of all the keywords they're ranking for, like Floral Austin, Texas, and you can see the search volume. And you want to include all this into your content briefs. And if you're establishing a blog post, for example, but you can use these pages on your homepage, for example.
Awesome.
Again, this is a very high level in keyword research. Otherwise, I would just be kind of going in nuances of SEO tools specifically, which I don't want to do, just in case you're not going to, purchase a tool. Okay, so next we will talk about the Ubersuggest also has a tool that has, okay, sorry. Yeah, I'm looking at a different thing, so we're good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we're finding supporting keywords. So like the content briefs we talked about, this is how you find like the supporting keywords to support your primary.
Okay.
So Ubersuggest also has this part where you insert a keyword and then it pops out keyword ideas and suggestions related to it. So all your related keywords should still be under the same search intent as your primary. And then it also has a section for questions, so you can add those as well.
That's great. So if we were going to put something in here like, color theory and floral design or, seasonal flowers for your wedding or something, it would then give us some of these other keywords that we can work through in a blog post. Awesome.
Cool. And then next slide. Then this is just like a really free, easy way to find some keywords. Probably seen this in Google results that people also ask questions. This is a good place to find, actual blog topics, as well as like supporting questions for an article.
Yeah.
Just wanted to include this one in here.
Yeah. So Lizette was just asking, is Ubersuggest an app? And so it's basically a website that you can go to and use to kind of search, just like you would search in Google, but it's just much more in-depth and gives you kind of this insight into what people are searching for. But this is a really great way to kind of just get some general keyword topics. So if you're putting in, something that you really want to have a kind of localized focus on, you look at this, people also ask, this would give you some great things. So, can you make money as a floral designer? Is a floral designer a good job? These are the kinds of things that I actually with EveryStem use and look through, because as florists, you guys are my clients. So, you want to look at what your clients are kind of searching for, and then kind of using this people also ask or Ubersuggest or SEO or SEMrush. And you can hire people to do this for you. Like, this is some of the work that Mickey does. So if this is more intense than what you want to take on yourself, outsourcing this type of work can really raise the level of traffic you're getting and raise the level of, inquiries you're getting. So if you're looking for kind of another way to start kind of supercharging your inquiries, if you're not getting that many people reaching out to you to, do their weddings or buy flowers, Mickey could really kind of help you with this stuff to start getting you to get those clients. That's what SEO is really great about.
Yeah, absolutely. So I just want to include this quick slide of the tool I use, SEMrush. It definitely does provide extra value. Like, for example, it tells you what your competitors rank for each specific keyword. And then the higher a similar post ranks on Google for a keyword, more likely the keyword satisfies the search intent. So I don't want to confuse you guys, but like, it definitely has more value in terms of the data provided. And actually the search volume is slightly more accurate as well, if you're into that. But the next slide will go into this keyword, specifically how to save money on wedding flowers, and show you how to create your own title tags around that. So step one is you get to take the keyword, and then step two is would be to check the search intent. In this case, I included the Google search on the right-hand side. So this is for somebody wanting a blog content or a videos or a user-generated content like Reddit to find smart ways to save money and how to do it. And there's no local intent. So you can see easily what I mean by search intent and how that matches and aligns with that. And then also you'll see trigger keywords, which throughout the titles of these listings, you can see smart, how to learn, advice, and like numbered lists, like 11 best ways. So the best way I know how to do this is you combine your primary keyword and some trigger keywords, and you capitalize each word and keep it under 60 characters. So for example, how to save money on wedding flowers in 9 smart ways would be a great title tag for this.
That's awesome. And I know there are some, I think I have one that I use a lot. It's like a headline optimizer kind of a thing. And it'll kind of tell you how many words there are. And if you're kind of using those power words and stuff like that. So if anybody wants a link to that, I can send that out when we send out this presentation that Mickey created for us. And it's really helpful because it kind of helps you kind of dial in. You don't want to use words that you're going to be kind of wasted words. And you want to kind of really focus in on, what's going to get someone to click on that link.
Yeah. And a lot of times you would include your branding in the title, but it's actually not as important anymore because Google's semi-recent update actually includes the branding in there. If you see on the top listing, it has a B for brides. It includes all that already, so you don't need to waste real estate like you were saying.
Awesome.
So absolutely perfect. And yeah, I actually do link to a tool on the last slide too, like you mentioned.
Oh, great. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so now that you have all the information, how do you form a strategy around that and create a checklist for yourself? So yeah, this is the last slide. The next one.
Awesome.
Cool. All right, so effective SEO strategy. So we made it this far. SEO doesn't have to be overwhelming, so that's why I created an SEO checklist. I know everybody likes checking things off a checklist. It's euphoric. So step one is, I provided this SEO comprehensive checklist that talks about everything we talked about today and a lot more. So definitely feel free to use that. And then go through it once to audit your website, and then go through it again to implement some of these changes if you can. I even include some kind of like reasoning and explanations for each thing on the list, just in case you're not familiar. And then next, you want to prioritize your homepage and perform keyword research to insert. So it's all about prioritization. So you have a whole list of things you can do. You just need to prioritize the things that move the needle first. And that's what we talked about today. And then prioritize your meta elements, your H1s, your title tags. And here's that tool we were talking about. Mongols.com is a screenshot on the right-hand side. You can literally plug and play with your title tags from like a mobile and desktop view. And you can see if you're over the limit in characters.
Oh, that's great. Because I know that's a big thing. That's a big no-no. You don't want to be over the limit on those, right?
Yeah, it's more like a user experience. Like it's going to truncate. It's not going to show the whole title. And you definitely want to make sure our user sees your whole title.
Okay.
And then last, and you want to establish your content cadence and your backlink acquisition. In that SEO audit checklist I provided, it actually has a lot of tips of how to acquire backlinks included in there for your reference. The cadence I like to do one local post and one regular post a month. That's my secret sauce. And then lastly, start a review campaign and start tracking your results. So if you're not tracking your results, you're not going to know what you're doing is working. So every website should be part of Google Search Console. You can set that up for free. It tells you what keywords people are typing in to get to land on your website. Okay, so yeah, it's a very common tool, but everyone should have it. You can actually see if you're being penalized on Google through that as well. And then Google Analytics would be the other one to track your conversions.
Yeah, and I think the Google Search Console, the nice thing about that I've noticed is that every month I get an email from them that tells me, what's kind of which blog posts of mine are ranking higher this month, and which search terms people are searching that I'm ranking for. So if you guys aren't on, it's called Google Search Console. If you guys don't have your websites connected to that, go ahead and get that connected. I'm sure I can probably look that up and send you guys the link to it, but it's really helpful because even if you're not super savvy and you don't really know all the details, at least you're getting kind of a monthly overview of what's going on, what's working, and what you can be doing more of. So even if you're just creating like one blog post a month, if you know what is people are clicking on and what they're looking for, then you can next month create a blog post that's going to actually kind of play on that and continue to kind of build on that momentum. So, that's a really important thing. So make sure you guys are signed up for that. And then I know Hannah had one question, but Mickey, do you have anything else that you want to kind of add on that? I know I kind of started talking before you were wrapping it up completely, but
No, yeah, this is the last slide. So you can
that's
ask the
fine.
question.
Awesome. Well, that was great. I really appreciate you taking the time to kind of go over all of this with us. And I know we're going to have some questions here at the end. But let me go back to this question that Hannah had, because I know it was a good one. Let's see. Okay. So Hannah, if you want to unmute, you can do that too, just because we're going to ask about this. I want to make sure that Mickey understands what you're asking. She says, how do you edit the photo name on Google? I've been trying to figure that out for a while.
So it's actually a two-part question, if I may chime in.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm on my Google, edit profile kind of tab, and we rebranded last year, and my old logo is still next to it, and I cannot figure out. And I've even asked people from Google, they come around every once in a while trying to get me to, update the Google Street View or whatever.
Right.
But so that I can't figure out, and I feel like it's really kind of throwing people off. But
yeah, because it's an old branding, and
yeah, it's an old branding. And then I don't see where I can edit the names of the photos that I'm adding, and I'm not sure if other people are seeing that it says some weird, like image 2.3 or whatever.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
Or if it doesn't matter on Google, maybe.
So I think what Hannah's talking about for that, Mickey, is the actual like name of the image.
Yeah, like on the Google business profile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So there should be a spot where in like the business profile you can add a logo. Like it should say add logo or
yeah, I have tried that.
It might actually be pulling some information from your website. Do you have like that branding anywhere on your site?
No.
Yeah,
but I've tried it so many
Google
times.
support
They
is
just
very
never
bad.
ever
Like,
update
they
it.
never respond, unfortunately.
Yeah, I wonder how you could do that, because I know when I had I updated some stuff in there, and it took me like quite a while to kind of dig through and figure that out. But maybe, Mickey, if you have a chance to kind of look at that and see, maybe you can help.
I'll do some research, but it should be just add the logo. But
yeah, we can take a look at that. And then Hannah, on the pictures, I know, are they ones that have already been uploaded, or is it as you're uploading them?
It is, well, as I'm uploading them, I don't have an option to change the name.
Okay.
And ones that are already updated, I'm not sure if Google even shows you a name of a photo. I don't think it does, but maybe he was referring mostly to other search engines.
okay, yeah. So the alt text is like behind the scenes. It's not like displayed, but when you upload the image, if you have like WordPress, you upload the image, you can go to the library section and then you click on an image, and then from on the right hand side, for at least WordPress, it should say add file name and then add alt text, and then that's where you can do it. But depending on what host you're using, wherever your library is, you can toggle through you can look through your images and update your exact alt text you want for that.
Yeah, usually what I do, Hannah, is, and I know this doesn't help with the ones you've already done or that are already uploaded, but I usually, when I have it on my desktop or I have it saved as a file, I change the name there before I upload it. But I know that doesn't help with the ones that you've already
You
got.
can still update the ones that you have on there. You would have to click into the image, and then so if there's a way to upload it, and it's the same way to upload as is to change, you just click on it, and then you change the alt text. Is it through? It's hard to answer specifically because I don't know what like system you're using.
Yeah.
Is it WordPress or?
Do you use WordPress, Hannah, or do you use Squarespace or?
Sorry, I couldn't figure out how to unmute myself.
Oh, that's okay.
I use Squarespace.
Squarespace. Okay, that's what
Okay,
I
yeah.
use too. So yeah, I'll look
Yes.
online and then yeah, we can kind of help you figure that out.
Yeah, there's a
Okay.
Squarespace has like I think they call it asset library, and that's where all your images are.
Oh, good to know.
Yeah,
Awesome.
asset something. Yeah.
And then we have a question from Brittany. She's wondering if it's possible to choose the photo that defaults on her Google business page instead of her logo, but the first photo. You know,
Yes.
I think there
It's a
is,
cover
but I
photo.
also think it pulls it from your website, right, Mickey?
Yeah, it does a little bit of both. It's like a knowledge panel, so it pulls things from your site, but also you can establish a cover photo as well as a logo. Not saying that will work, but it should be pulling that one in.
Yeah, and sometimes it will pull it from the website. I know I've had that before with, you know, my business and looking at the picture on the front and being like, oh, I want to change that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
This
you should be
is
able to.
interesting. I guess everyone's questions are very focused on manipulating the pictures, so I definitely need to do some research on that.
Dig into some of that. Yeah, maybe we can
Yeah,
look at that and then get back to everybody on some of those.
for sure.
Not on on your Google listing, Brittany. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Google pulls stuff from your website and adds it to your Google listing without you even like really knowing about it. And then it also allows you to have some control over what you're adding. Like it'll say, I know there's an area where it says like photos by owner. You can, or business, you know, and you can add those. So
Yeah, it'll just take some time to update if you've changed everything across your site.
yeah. So Google's going to be crawling that site. So if you've updated it, you know, the next time Google crawls the site, it's going to, you know, it's going to slowly kind of update. So it isn't always like a instantaneous thing,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
And this is actually another helpful thing for Google Search Console. You can take like your homepage, would might actually help. Take your homepage into Google Search Console, and then you can request indexing on in specific pages, and then hopefully that would kind of like regenerate like and recrawl your site. So you can do that. That's actually best practice when you post a blog. Every time you post a new page, you should go to Google Search Console and submit it for indexing.
Oh, nice. That's good to know. I didn't realize you could do that. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then Teresa has a question. She is a flower farm and wedding florist. So she grows flowers and she does weddings. She wants to start offering educational courses for farmer florists. So for other florists, not for her current clients. So she's asking, Mickey, do you think it would be best for her to get another website to optimize the SEO for the education and courses, or would it be okay to keep it as part of her current website, maybe just add another page to her existing website?
Yeah, definitely keep on the same page or the same domain. You want to have, I've seen people try to do separate domains, and that's just way too much work. And you want to have like all the domain authority working together. So create a new service page for your for this specific education course.
Mm-hmm.
And then that will act as like another homepage when people search for your education courses. They'll most likely rank your service page for that over your homepage. So it will definitely work for you to have them both on the same domain. Definitely.
Okay, great. Yep. So you'll keep that on the same. And then Teresa, you can also, on your homepage, she could have like, 2 buttons that's like for education or for
Yeah. Yeah,
florists,
exactly.
right? For florists or for, clients. So you could do that. And that's another way you could kind of divide it out. And then Kat is asking, can you add alt text to Google Business Photos? Do you know if you can do that, Mickey?
I don't think you can actually.
I've never seen that, Kat. That's a great question. I don't think you can. I guess because Google's already crawling it and maybe knows, but I guess if you name the image, maybe it uses that. But like Hannah was saying, instead of having it be like image 1, 2, 3, 4, if you have it, bridal bouquet or something like that, maybe it's more useful, but I don't know about that. We can look at
Yeah,
that.
but if you can't, then yeah, like Luann said, before you upload it, make sure the file name is, what an alt text would be, because Google crawls both.
Okay, so it is going to crawl that image name, which is great. So that's a good way to use it. I know on my Squarespace website, when I post blogs, there is a place for alt text on there, but I don't know if it is on Google. Okay, does anybody else have any other questions? Let me look through here and make sure we didn't miss anybody. I know, let me see.
Out of all the questions, this is great.
Yeah, it's about 6:47. So I know we've got you a little longer than an hour,
Yeah,
Mickey, but it's great to have all these questions get answered. Let me see. There was one other. Hannah, is it possible to remove photos you no longer want on Google? On the business listing? I'm trying to think about that.
Is this still on Google Business Profile or?
Yeah, I think that's what Hannah's asking about.
Let's see.
Yeah, sorry. I just have photos on there again from before my rebrand. And the interior of our shop looks wildly different now. And so if they're looking at old photos and then they come in and they see our updated space, it feels very confusing to people. And I can't for the life of me figure out how to remove those old outdated photos.
That's a good question. Yeah. I wonder if
Yeah, I think it's since anyone could add photos, it's you would have to request for something like that to be taken down.
oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's my guess on that one.
I wonder if you could do you have any new photos that you've put on there of the new space, Hannah? Kind of try
Yeah,
to overwrite.
I just had some professional ones taken, so I'm gonna try and hope that Google will eventually realize that they're outdated.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just honestly just add more photos and just have it get pushed down farther. Worst
Yeah,
case.
that's what I was going to say. Kind of overwrite it and just post those new photos of the space maybe once a month or something like that. Just keep kind of adding them in, and then maybe it'll kind of drown out the old ones. It's kind of a frustrating thing sometimes with Google because, they do not make it easy. I can tell you that. I do know that. They make it difficult. And so that's one of those hard things to do. Oh yeah, Stephanie just had a great idea too. She said, ask some other friends to do reviews for you, Hannah, and add the new photos on their reviews. And that way those photos will be the ones, because people aren't going to dig that deep, So, a lot of people, once they see a couple of images, they're satisfied. They're not going to dig through images from, long, long ago. So, that's also kind of a trick with reviews too. I mean, if you get kind of one negative review in a sea of a lot of positive reviews, it happens. We all have had a bad review, but if you put more good reviews on top of it, that bad review tends to get kind of pushed down to the bottom. Right. So that kind of technique.
Yeah, and you answer all your bad reviews too, or comment on them. But yeah, like you said, those images really do push towards the top.
Yeah, so maybe that's a great idea.
That is
awesome, Stephanie. Thanks for suggesting that. I think that's really smart. Just have, anybody who's going to post a review, maybe they post some pictures of their wedding, Hannah, and then ask them if they could throw in one of the pictures of your shop now, So it's like legit with, happy clients reviews. That would be awesome. Does anybody else have any questions for Mickey? I know we've kind of gone over a bunch of different stuff, so don't be shy, ask anything. And hopefully this was helpful for everybody. We're going to go ahead and send this presentation out. And these are links, the audit checklist and the tools, free SEO tools link. Those are going to be things that you can actually link to so that you guys can actually have access to this. And then if you have questions about it, you can DM Mickey or reach out to him and ask him specifically. Let's see, there's one more question that just popped up. Oh, Hannah said, thank you so much. Awesome. Yes, everybody's saying it's super helpful. Thank you, Mickey.
Thank you so much.
Everybody loved it. Awesome, guys. Well, what I will do is this is being recorded, so I will make it a replay. I will post it on my blog and get a little SEO out of it as well. So I appreciate all of you being here. Mickey, thank you so much for taking the time to do this with us, because we are florists. We are not SEO experts, and we need your help. I'll email everybody those links. Yes, Hannah, I'll go ahead and send those links in an email. I really appreciate you guys taking the time to talk with us. It's really important to me that you understand that you can use, you can outsource some of this stuff. We don't have to do this all ourselves. So if you need help with this, I really recommend reaching out to Mickey, learning a little bit about how he works. He has been so great working with me already and starting to kind of create a plan that actually really fits within my budget. It's something that's worthwhile because you will get more traffic and you will get more leads. And, if you're offering really great service and you're offering really great product, when you get those increase in leads, you are bound to get those clients to come in and book you. So it's really worthwhile to consider. If it's not something you have the time to do or you feel like you have the capacity for, just reach out to Mickey, because he is so good at this, and he's helped other florists and he understands the business, especially with his wife being in the industry. So thanks again, everybody. Mickey, any last tips or anything you want to share?
Go get them.
Awesome. We're going to do that. Thank you,
Appreciate it,
guys.
y'all.
Everybody have a great night. Really appreciate it. Bye.